Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Defiant, looking out at the stars. 3 months had passed since humans first met aliens from space. What started as friendly talks had turned into something much worse. The aliens called themselves the Zilani Federation. They ruled 12 different alien races across many star systems. They had been in control of this part of space for over 2,000 years. When they first found humans, they seemed curious and willing to talk, but that changed quickly. The Zilani discovered that humans had spread across many planets in just a few decades. Most alien races took hundreds of years to do the same thing. This scared the Zilani leaders. They thought humans were too dangerous and moved too fast. Jake looked at his crew working at their stations. Lieutenant Lisa Park sat at the weapons control desk. She was young but smart, and she knew how to fight. Commander Ron Blake worked in the engine room below. He could fix anything and make their ship run better than it was supposed to. Ensign Amy Walsh handled all communications. She could speak 3 alien languages already. The bridge felt tense today. They had received an emergency message from one of their colonies. The planet was called Kepler-442b, and it was home to 50,000 humans. The message said alien ships had surrounded the planet. No one could get in or out. "Captain," Amy said from her station, "Earth Command is sending us new orders." Jake walked over to read the message on her screen. The words made his heart beat faster. Earth wanted the Defiant to go to Kepler-442b right away. They were the only human warship close enough to help. The USS Defiant was not like other human ships. It was built for war, with thick armor and powerful weapons. The ship used new technology that most aliens had never seen. Quantum armor could bend energy weapons away from the hull. Fusion lances could cut through almost anything. But Jake knew they would be fighting alone. The Zilani Federation had hundreds of ships. The Defiant was just one ship with a crew of 300 people. "Lisa," Jake called to his weapons officer. "What do we know about Zilani ships?" Lisa turned in her chair. "They use bioorganic technology, sir. Their ships are grown, not built. They heal themselves when damaged. Their weapons use plasma energy. That can burn through most metals." Jake nodded. He had seen pictures of Zilani vessels. They looked like giant sea creatures floating in space. They pulsed with their own light and seemed almost alive. Human ships looked like metal boxes compared to them. Ron Blake's voice came through the ship's speakers from the engine room. "Captain, I've been working on some upgrades. I found pieces of alien technology from our last encounter. I think I can make our engines run 20% faster." "Do it," Jake said. "We'll need every advantage we can get." The truth was that humans and aliens thought very differently. The Zilani believed in order and careful planning. They made decisions as a group and followed the same battle tactics for centuries. Humans were different. They acted fast, took risks, and changed their plans when needed. Ambassador Vextar of the Zilani Council had sent a message to Earth just last week. He called humans a chaotic element that would destroy the peace they had built. He said humans could not be trusted because they acted without thinking and refused to follow proper rules. Jake thought about this as he prepared his ship for battle. Maybe the aliens were right about humans being chaotic, but chaos was not always bad. Sometimes it was exactly what you needed to win. "Amy, send a message to the colony," Jake ordered. "Tell them help is coming." Amy typed quickly on her keyboard. "Sir, I'm getting interference. The Zilani might be blocking our signals." "Keep trying," Jake said. "Those people need to know they're not alone." Jake walked to the big window at the front of the bridge. Space looked peaceful, but he knew that would change soon. Somewhere out there, alien ships were threatening human families. Children were probably scared, not understanding why they couldn't leave their planet. The Defiant's crew had trained for this moment. Every person on the ship knew their job. They had practiced fighting against alien ships in computer simulations, but this would be real. Real weapons, real danger, real lives at stake. Captain, Lisa said, looking at her screens. Long-range sensors are picking up something. Multiple ships at the edge of Zolani's space. Jake felt his stomach tighten. How many? At least 40, sir. Maybe more. The bridge became very quiet. 40 alien ships against one human ship. The odds were terrible. But Jake looked at his crew and saw determination in their eyes. They were ready to fight, no matter what. Set course for Kepler-4 for to be, Jake commanded. Maximum speed. The ship turned and jumped into hyperspace. Stars became long lines of light as they traveled faster than light itself. In a few hours, they would arrive at the colony. Jake used that time to prepare his crew for the biggest battle of their lives. He thought about the families on the colony, planet, teachers, farmers, engineers, children playing in alien sunshine. They trusted Earth to protect them. They trusted ships like the Defiant to keep them safe. Jake would not let them down, even if it meant fighting the entire Zolani Federation with just one ship. The USS Defiant dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler system. What Jake Morrison saw made his blood run cold. 47 alien ships floated in space around the human colony planet. They formed a perfect circle, like hunters surrounding their prey. My God, Lisa Park whispered from her weapons station. The Zolani ships were huge and beautiful in a terrifying way. They looked like giant jellyfish made of metal and light. Each ship pulsed with colors that changed from blue to purple to green. They seemed alive, breathing in the darkness of space. Amy, try to contact the colony, Jake ordered. Amy's fingers moved quickly over her controls. I'm getting through, sir. Commander Helen Cross is responding. Commander Cross appeared on the main screen. She was a tough woman with gray hair and worry lines around her eyes. Behind her, Jake could see the colony's command center filled with scared people. Captain Morrison, thank God you're here, Helen said, her voice cracked with relief. These aliens showed up 3 days ago. They won't let anyone leave the planet. They won't even talk to us. What do they want? Jake asked. We don't know. They just watch us. But sir, there's something else. Our sensors detected scanning beams. They're studying us, learning about our technology and our people. The transmission suddenly cut off. Static filled the screen. They're jamming our signals, Amy reported. I can't get through anymore. Jake studied the alien formation on his tactical display. The ships were arranged in a complex pattern that seemed random at first, but Lisa's computer analysis showed something different. Captain, look at this, Lisa said, pointing to her screen. The way they're positioned, ... It's like they want us to attack from a specific direction. They're trying to force us into a trap. Ron Blake's voice came from the engine room. Captain, I'm reading some strange energy signatures from those ships. Some of them are different from the others. I think there are alien species we've never seen before. Jake nodded grimly. The Zolani Federation included 12 different races. Humans had only met 3 of them during the peace talks. The others remained a mystery. On the scanner, Jake could see ships that looked like floating crystals. They sparkled with internal light and seemed to communicate by changing colors. Other ships appeared to be made of gas or smoke, barely solid enough to see. Sir, Lisa said, her voice tense. I'm detecting weapons charging. Multiple ships are powering up their energy systems. Jake made a quick decision. Red alert. All hands to battle stations. Shields up. Alarms rang throughout the ship. The bridge lights dimmed to a red glow. Jake could hear the crew running to their positions in the hallways outside. Captain, Amy said urgently. I'm picking up a transmission. It's not directed at us. The aliens are talking to each other. Can you understand it? Amy listened to her headphones. She had learned some alien languages during the peace talks. It's the Zolani command language, sir, they're saying. They're calling this a behavioral analysis test. They want to see how humans fight. Jake felt anger rise in his chest. This wasn't just about the colony. The aliens were using 50,000 innocent people as bait. They wanted to study human military tactics before launching a real war. Lisa, give me options, Jake commanded. Sir, we're outnumbered 47-1. Their ships are larger than ours. In a straight fight, we don't stand a chance. Then we don't fight straight, Jake said. What about that asteroid field near the third moon? Lisa checked her maps. It's dense, sir, hard to navigate. But the Defiant is smaller and more agile than their ships. Jake smiled grimly. This was what humans did best. When the odds were impossible, they found a different way to win. Plot a course through the asteroid field. We'll use the rocks as cover. Sir, Amy interrupted. The colony is trying to send another message. It's very weak, but I think Commander Cross is warning us about something. The transmission was full of static, but Jake could hear Helen's voice saying the same words over and over. It's a test. It's a test. ... Don't fall for it. Jake understood. The Zilani wanted humans to attack, in a predictable way. They wanted to learn how human ships fought, how human captains thought. This information would help them plan their real invasion of Earth. But Jake had a different idea. Instead of attacking the alien fleet directly, he would rescue the colonists first. Then he would show the Zilani something they didn't expect, that humans could win without destroying their enemies. Change of plans, Jake announced. We're going to save our people first. Fighting comes second. The bridge crew looked surprised, but they trusted their captain. Jake had led them through dangerous situations before. On the scanner, the alien ships began to move. They were adjusting their formation, trying to predict what the human ship would do. But their movements followed ancient patterns, the same tactics they had used for thousands of years. Jake watched their formation change, and realized something important. The aliens were very smart, but they thought like aliens. They couldn't predict human behavior because humans didn't follow the same rules. Take us in, Jake ordered, but not where they expect us. The Defiant began moving toward the planet, but not in a straight line. Jake ordered a course that seemed random and dangerous. They flew close to the system's sun, using its radiation to hide their exact position. Then they swung around behind the planet's largest moon. The alien ships tried to follow, but they moved slowly and carefully. They were afraid of taking risks. Humans were different. Humans had learned to take smart risks to survive. Sir, Lisa reported, some of the alien ships are breaking formation. They don't know which way we're going. Jake smiled. That's the idea. Keep them guessing. The USS Defiant raced through space toward the colony planet. Behind them, 47 alien ships tried to figure out what the crazy humans were planning to do. Jake looked at his crew working at their stations. They were scared but determined. They knew they might die today, but they also knew they were fighting for something important, the right of humans to live freely among the stars. The battle was about to begin. The first alien weapon fired without warning. A bright green beam of plasma energy shot across space toward the USS Defiant. The beam was so hot it could melt through solid metal in seconds. Evasive maneuvers, Jake shouted. The Defiant twisted to the left, just as the plasma beam passed through the space where they had been. The energy was so close that it made the ship's hull glow red hot. Return fire, Jake ordered. Lisa Park's hands flew over her weapons controls. The Defiant's fusion lances fired back, sending brilliant white beams toward the nearest alien ship. The beams struck the bioorganic hull and burned deep holes in the living metal, but the alien ship began healing itself immediately. The holes closed up like wounds in flesh. Within seconds, there was no sign of damage at all. Their ships can repair themselves, Lisa reported. Our weapons aren't doing enough damage. More alien ships opened fire. Plasma beams filled the space around the Defiant like a deadly light show. Jake ordered the ship to dive toward the planet, using its gravity to help them move faster. Ron, I need more power to the engines, Jake called through the ship's communication system. Already on it, Captain. Ron Blake's voice came back from the engineering deck. I'm pushing the fusion reactors to 110%. We can't maintain this for long, but it should give us the speed we need. The Defiant shot between two alien ships, so fast that their weapons couldn't track the movement. Jake was using a tactic that no alien captain would try, flying so close to enemy ships that they might crash into each other. Amy tried to disrupt their communications. Jake ordered. Amy Walsh had been experimenting with different radio frequencies. During the peace talks, she had learned that different alien species used different ways to communicate. Some used radio waves, others used light patterns, and some used sounds. Sir, I'm broadcasting on multiple frequencies, Amy reported. Wait, something's happening. The crystal ships are starting to flash erratically. On the main screen, Jake could see the crystalline alien vessels. They normally pulsed with steady, beautiful colors, but now they were flashing random patterns of light. They seemed confused or in pain. What did you do? Jake asked. I played some human music through their communication channels, Amy said, with surprise. Classical music seems to hurt them somehow. Jake smiled. Keep playing it. Louder. Amy increased the volume and added more human music to her broadcast. Rock music, jazz, and even children's songs flooded the alien communication networks. The crystal ships began moving erratically, bumping into other vessels in their formation. Meanwhile, the Defiant was performing maneuvers that should have been impossible. Jake ordered the ship to spin while firing, to fly backward while accelerating forward, and to use the planet's magnetic field to change direction instantly. The alien ships tried to follow the same movements, but their tactics were based on thousands of years of careful, logical planning. They couldn't adapt to the wild, creative fighting style of the humans. Captain, Lisa said excitedly, 3 alien ships just collided with each other. They can't predict our movements. Jake felt a surge of hope. The plan was working. Humans had one big advantage over the aliens. They were unpredictable. Earth was a dangerous planet where humans had learned to survive by being flexible and creative. The aliens came from safer worlds where everything followed patterns. Ron, what's our engine status? Jake asked. We're running hot, sir, but holding together. Those modifications I made are working better than expected. We're faster than we should be. The Defiant dove toward the colony planet's surface, with dozens of alien ships chasing behind. Jake planned to use the planet's atmosphere to his advantage. Human ships were built to fly in air, as well as space. Most alien ships were not. Take us into the upper atmosphere, Jake commanded. Sir, that's dangerous, Lisa warned. If we miscalculate, we could crash. Trust me, Jake said. The Defiant plunged into the planet's thin upper atmosphere. The ship shook and rattled as air resistance slowed them down. Behind them, the alien ships hesitated. They were afraid to follow the humans into the dangerous atmosphere. But some of the braver alien captains did follow. Their bioorganic ships began to overheat in the friction of atmospheric flight. The living holes started to glow and smoke. Jake used this advantage to attack. The Defiant climbed back into space and fired on the overheated alien ships. This time, the fusion lances did real damage. The alien ships couldn't heal themselves. While they were overheating, direct hit, Lisa shouted. 2 enemy ships are retreating, but there were still dozens of alien vessels, and more were coming from deeper in Zolani's space. Jake knew they couldn't win by fighting all of them. They needed a different strategy. Amy, can you contact the colony again? I'm trying, sir. The interference is still strong, but, wait, I'm getting something. Commander Helen Cross appeared on the screen again. She looked tired and scared, but determined. "Captain, we're ready to evacuate. We have transport ships fueled and waiting, but we need you to clear a path through the blockade." Jake studied the tactical display. The alien ships had reformed their blockade around the planet. There was no way through without a fight. "Helen, how many people can you evacuate at once?" "About 5,000 per ship. We have 10 ships ready to go." Jake did the math quickly. 50,000 people total, 5,000 per ship. They would need to make 10 trips, and each trip would take time. Time they might not have. "Ron," Jake called, "I need you to work a miracle. Can you give me enough power to take on the entire alien fleet?" There was a pause before Ron answered. "Captain, I've been saving something for an emergency. I found some alien power cells in our last encounter. I can integrate them into our systems, but it's dangerous. If it goes wrong, we could lose everything." Jake looked at his crew. They were all young, brave people who had volunteered to serve on humanity's most dangerous missions. They trusted him to make the right decision. "Do it," Jake ordered. "We're not leaving anyone behind." The ship's lights flickered as Ron began his dangerous modifications in the engine room. On the main screen, the alien fleet was moving into attack position. Soon, every weapon in the Zalani fleet would be firing at the single human ship. Jake gripped the arms of his captain's chair. The real battle was about to begin. The USS Defiant's engines roared with new power as Ron Blake finished his dangerous modifications. The ship's hull vibrated with energy that was barely under control. Warning lights flashed red across every control panel. Power levels at 150%. Ron's voice crackled through the speakers. "Sir, I don't know how long the ship can handle this much energy." Jake gripped his chair as the ship accelerated faster than it was designed to go. Around them, the alien fleet opened fire with everything they had. Dozens of plasma beams lit up space like deadly fireworks. But something amazing was happening. The crew of the Defiant was working together in ways that surprised even Jake. Every person on the ship seemed to know exactly what to do without being told. Lieutenant Ben Carter, the ship's navigator, was calculating jump coordinates in his head while the ship twisted through enemy fire. Most navigators needed computers to do such complex math, but Ben was doing it by instinct alone. "Captain, I can thread us through their formation," Ben called out. "I can see a path through the space-time distortions their engines are creating." "Do it," Jake ordered. The Defiant shot forward like a bullet through a maze of alien ships. Ben's calculations were perfect. They passed so close to enemy vessels that their hulls almost touched, but they never collided. The alien captains couldn't believe what they were seeing. No ship should be able to navigate through such tight spaces at such high speed. But humans had learned to drive cars through crowded city streets, to fly planes through storms, to navigate by the stars when their instruments failed. Dr. Kate Miller, the ship's medical officer, was doing something equally impressive. She had been studying the alien prisoners they had captured in earlier encounters. By examining their biology, she had learned important secrets about how Zalani technology worked. "Captain," Kate's voice came from the medical bay. "I know why. Their ships heal themselves. The hulls are alive, like giant single-celled organisms. If we can disrupt their cell walls, they won't be able to repair damage." "How do we do that?" Jake asked, while dodging another plasma beam. "Electromagnetic pulses, sir. But they have to be at exactly the right frequency." Lisa Park immediately began adjusting the ship's weapons. "I can modify our fusion lances to produce the frequency," Dr. Miller specified. Within minutes, the Defiant's weapons were firing a new kind of energy beam. When these beams hit the alien ships, the living hulls began to die. The beautiful, pulsing colors faded to gray. The self-repair systems stopped working. "It's working," Lisa shouted. "The alien ships can't heal themselves anymore." But the real surprise came from Amy Walsh at the communications station. She had been experimenting with different ways to disrupt alien coordination. Now, she discovered something incredible. "Sir, I can hear them talking," Amy said excitedly. "The different alien species in their fleet don't trust each other. They're arguing about battle tactics." Jake realized this was another human advantage. The crew of the Defiant came from different countries on Earth, but they worked together as one team. The alien fleet was made up of different species who had old grudges and disagreements. "Can you make their arguments worse?" Jake asked Amy. Grint, "Already on it, sir. I'm broadcasting false orders in their languages. I'm making each species think the others are planning to betray them." The effect was immediate. Several alien ships began turning their weapons on each other instead of on the Defiant. The perfect formation of the Zilani fleet started to break apart as different species accused each other of treachery. Jake seized the opportunity. "All ships on the planet, begin evacuation now. We'll hold them off." The first transport ship lifted off from the colony planet. It was filled with 5,000 frightened but hopeful colonists. More ships prepared to follow. But the alien fleet was still dangerous. Even with their formation broken, they had dozens of ships and powerful weapons. The Defiant was taking damage from the constant enemy fire. "Hull breach on Deck 7, someone reported. "Emergency teams are sealing it now. Shields down to 60%, Lisa added. Jake knew they couldn't keep this up much longer. But he also knew something that the aliens didn't understand. Humans fought differently when they were protecting their families. "Ben, take us closer to that gas cloud ship," Jake ordered, pointing to one of the strangest alien vessels. It looked like a floating storm cloud with lightning crackling inside it. "Sir, that's extremely dangerous," Ben warned. "Those creatures exist partially in subspace. Getting too close could tear our hull apart." "Trust me," Jake said. The Defiant flew straight toward the gas cloud ship. The alien vessel tried to retreat, but it was too slow. At the last second, Jake ordered Ben to jump to hyperspace for just 1 second. The hyperspace jump created a shock wave that disrupted the gas cloud ship's connection to subspace. The alien vessel became solid and crashed into a nearby asteroid. "How did you know that would work?" Lisa asked in amazement. "I didn't," Jake admitted. "But humans are good at trying things that might not work." More transport ships were lifting off from the planet. Half the colonists were now safe. But the remaining alien ships were regrouping for a final attack. They had stopped fighting each other and were focusing all their weapons on the Defiant. "Captain," Ron's voice came from engineering. "The alien power cells are becoming unstable. We need to shut down the enhanced systems soon, or the ship could explode." Jake looked at the tactical display. 20 transport ships still needed to evacuate. That would take at least an hour, and they didn't have that much time. "Ron, how long can you give me?" "Maybe 30 minutes, sir. After that, the power cells will go critical." Jake made a decision that would either save everyone or destroy them all. "Amy, send a message to the alien fleet. Tell them I want to talk to their commander." The bridge crew looked at Jake in surprise. In the middle of a desperate battle, their captain wanted to have a conversation with the enemy. But Jake had realized something important about the aliens. They followed rules and traditions that were thousands of years old. One of those traditions was that warriors who fought bravely deserved respect. "Sir," Amy reported. "The alien commander is responding. Admiral Zethfer of the Zilani High Fleet wants to speak with you." The main screen showed an alien that looked like a tall, elegant humanoid with blue skin and silver eyes. Admiral Zethfar wore elaborate armor covered in glowing symbols. "Human captain," the alien said in perfect English. "You have fought with great skill, but you cannot win. Surrender now, and your people will be treated with honor." Jake stood up straight and looked directly into the alien's silver eyes. "Admiral, I have a counter-offer for you." Admiral Zethfer S. Silver eyes narrowed as he stared at Jake Morrison through the communication screen. Around the USS Defiant, the alien fleet held their fire, waiting to hear what the human captain had to say. "You have my attention, human," the admiral said coldly. "What could you possibly offer that would interest the Zilani Federation?" Jake took a deep breath. What he was about to do went against every military rule he had ever learned. But sometimes, the best way to win a war was to refuse to fight it. "Admiral, I offer you safe passage out of this system," Jake said calmly. "Take your fleet and leave. In return, you allow all human civilians to evacuate safely." The alien commander's face showed complete shock. Several of his officers could be seen in the background, speaking in agitated voices. In their language, it was unthinkable for the losing side to offer terms to the winner. "You are outnumbered 40 to 1, Admiral Zethvar said with confusion. "Your ship is damaged. Your weapons are inferior. Why do you think you can make demands?" Jake smiled slightly. "Because you're not here to conquer this planet, Admiral. You're here to test us, to see how humans fight before you launch your real war against Earth. I'm offering you something more valuable than victory. I'm offering you the truth about humanity." The alien fleet remained motionless while their commanders discussed this unexpected turn. Through her headphones, Amy could hear fragments of their conversations in different alien languages. "Sir," Amy whispered to Jake, "some of them are arguing. The Kelvar ships are saying something about honor. The Crystal ships are calculating probabilities. But the main Zilani fleet wants to reject your offer." Meanwhile, more transport ships were lifting off from the colony planet. The evacuation was proceeding quickly now that the shooting had stopped. Commander Helen Cross was doing an excellent job organizing the civilian departure. "Ron," Jake said quietly, "how are those power cells?" "Getting more unstable by the minute, Captain. Maybe 15 minutes before they go critical." Jake nodded. He was gambling everything on his understanding of alien psychology. The Zilani Federation had ruled through careful planning and overwhelming force for thousands of years. They had never encountered an enemy who offered mercy instead of demanding it. Admiral Zethvar finally responded. "Human Captain, your offer is illogical. You have no leverage. Why should we agree to your terms?" "Because," Jake said, standing straighter, "you've already learned what you came here to learn. You've seen how humans fight. We don't follow your rules. We adapt, we improvise, we take risks that seem impossible. Most importantly, we protect our own, even when it costs us everything." Jake paused, then continued. "Admiral, you can destroy my ship and take this planet, but you'll learn nothing new. Or you can accept my offer and return to your leaders with something much more valuable. Proof that humans are not the chaotic threat you think we are." "Explain," the Admiral demanded. "We could have tried to destroy your entire fleet," Jake said. "Instead, we chose to save our people first. We could have attacked your weakest ships and killed thousands of your crew. Instead, we disabled your vessels without unnecessary bloodshed. We fight to protect, not to conquer." The alien officers in the background were now in heated debate. Amy was translating as fast as she could. "The Kelva warriors are saying you've shown battle honor," Amy reported. "The Crystal ships are calculating that your tactics were 67% more efficient than predicted. But the admirals are still skeptical." On the planet below, the last transport ships were preparing to launch. Soon, all 50,000 colonists would be safe. But Jake knew the real test was still coming. "Admiral," Jake said, "I'm going to prove my point." Without warning, Jake ordered the ship to power down all weapons. The Defiant's fusion lances went dark. The shields dropped to minimal power. The ship was now completely defenseless. "Captain, what are you doing?" Lisa Park asked in alarm. "Showing them who we really are," Jake replied calmly. Admiral Zethvar stared at the human ship in disbelief. "You have made yourself vulnerable. We could destroy you easily now." "Yes, you could," Jake agreed, "but you won't. Because deep down, you know I'm right. The Zilani Federation values honor and wisdom. There is no honor in destroying a defenseless ship that has shown mercy. The alien fleet remained frozen in space. For long minutes, nothing happened. Then, slowly, several of the alien ships began to power down their own weapons. The Kelver warrior ships were the first, followed by some of the crystal vessels. The fleet is dividing, Amy reported with excitement. Some ships are supporting Admiral Zethber, but others are supporting you, sir. Ron, status report, Jake called. Power cells are at critical levels, Captain. We need to shut down in the next 5 minutes, or we're all going to become a very bright star. Do it, Jake, ordered. Shut down the alien power systems? Sir, if I do that, we'll lose our enhanced speed and firepower. We'll be just a normal human ship again. That's exactly what I want, Jake said. The USS Defiance engines reduced to normal power. The ship's enhanced capabilities disappeared. They were now just one damaged human vessel facing the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. But something extraordinary was happening. More alien ships were lowering their weapons. The disciplined formation of the Zilani fleet was breaking apart, as different species made their own decisions about what to do. Admiral Zethver spoke again, and his voice had changed. There was respect in it now, and perhaps even admiration. Captain Morrison, the Admiral said formally, in 800 years of military service, I have never encountered an enemy who offered mercy from a position of weakness. You have given me much to think about. Does that mean you'll accept my offer? Jake asked. The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. Then he straightened in his command chair and spoke in the ritual language of military honor. The Zilani High Fleet will withdraw from this system. Your people may evacuate in peace. But Captain Morrison, know this. Our meeting today has changed nothing. The Federation Council still considers humanity a threat to galactic stability. This is not the end of our conflict. I understand, Admiral, Jake replied. But maybe when you report to your council, you'll tell them that humans don't have to be enemies. We can be something else instead. And what is that? Admiral Zethver asked. Jake smiled. We can be friends. The alien fleet began to move away from the planet. Not all of them. Some ships remained, their commanders apparently disagreeing with the Admiral's decision. But enough ships left that the blockade was broken. The last transport vessels lifted off from the colony planet, carrying the final group of human civilians to safety. All 50,000 colonists were now free. Captain, Amy said, receiving a message from the planet. Commander Cross reports that all civilians have been evacuated successfully. She's requesting permission to abandon the colony facilities. Permission granted, Jake said. There's nothing down there worth dying for. As the human ships departed the system, Jake made a final log entry. He knew that Earth Command would want a complete report of everything that had happened. Personal log, Captain Jake Morrison. Today we encountered a Zilani fleet of 47 vessels. We were outnumbered, outgunned, and fighting alone. By all military logic, we should have been destroyed. Instead, we saved 50,000 lives and may have prevented a galactic war. Jake paused, looking out at the stars, where the alien fleet was disappearing into hyperspace. The aliens came here to test us, to see how humans fight. I think we taught them something they didn't expect. We showed them that our greatest strength isn't our weapons or our technology. It's our willingness to risk everything to protect others, and our ability to show mercy even to our enemies. Jake closed the log and turned to his crew. They had all performed magnificently under impossible pressure. Lisa Park had adapted their weapon systems in real time. Amy Walsh had turned enemy communications against themselves. Ben Carter had navigated through dangers that should have destroyed them. Dr. Kate Miller had found the key to defeating alien technology. Ron Blake had pushed their engines beyond all limits. Set course for Earth, Jake ordered. maximum speed. But as the USS Defiant jumped to hyperspace, Jake knew this victory was only the beginning. Admiral Zethver had been honest about one thing: the Zelani Federation Council still considered humanity a threat. The real war was still coming. However, today had proven something important. When that war arrived, humanity would not stand alone. Some alien species had seen the honor in human actions. The Calver warriors respected courage and mercy. Even some Zelani officers had been impressed by human tactics and principles. Jake looked at his crew one more time. They were tired but proud. They had faced impossible odds and found a way to win without becoming monsters. That was what made humans special, in a galaxy full of ancient civilizations. They were going home as heroes, carrying a warning and a hope. The warning was that war was coming. The hope was that when it arrived, humanity would be ready to fight not just for survival, but for the right to live freely among the stars. The battle had ended, but the real victory was just beginning.